Super Typhoon Ragasa, the strongest storm to hit China this year, roared ashore in Guangdong province with devastating winds that surpassed 200 kilometers per hour. The storm, which gained strength over the South China Sea, struck major urban centers like Shenzhen and Zhuhai, unleashing torrential rain, crippling infrastructure, and forcing millions of people indoors under the country's highest-level typhoon alerts.
哎呀！咖喱出来，这个高了，这个，哎。
In Shenzhen, a sprawling metropolis of more than 17 million and one of China's leading financial and technology hubs, the impact was immediate and severe. Streets that were crowded just a day earlier fell silent as the entire city shut down. Towering skyscrapers visibly swayed under the storm's assault, their glass facades rattling as gusts intensified.
我现在来找一下。妈的，都先飞了，操！我靠，拖鞋飞得很快的，我操，这个风啊！风在外面看啦，哇，你飞多强！
roared ashore in Guangdong province on Wednesday, battering major urban centers with destructive winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour and
Windows shattered in dozens of high-rises, sending dangerous shards tumbling onto deserted boulevards. Construction cranes collapsed across the skyline, while scaffolding ripped apart and scattered debris through business districts. Public transportation ground to a halt, metro lines suspended service, while buses and ferries were canceled.
On September 24th, Super Typhoon Ragasa, the strongest storm to strike China this intense rainfall.
At Baoan International Airport, almost every flight was canceled as officials scrambled to protect terminals from the storm's relentless winds. In Zhuhai, entire residential blocks were stripped of their rooftops. Narrow streets flooded quickly, and marketplaces were submerged in rising water. Power outages swept across multiple neighborhoods as transmission towers buckled and power lines snapped, plunging entire districts into darkness. Emergency services struggled to respond. Fallen trees and overturned vehicles blocked major arteries, while hospitals rushed to treat residents injured by flying glass and debris. Rescue workers braved treacherous conditions to reach those in need. China's Meteorological Administration confirmed that Ragasa reached sustained winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour at landfall, ranking it among the most powerful storms to strike southern China in recent decades. Experts stressed that although flash flooding posed a threat, it was the sheer force of the wind that caused the greatest destruction. Vehicles were blown onto sidewalks, massive billboards twisted into wreckage, and rows of trees were torn from the ground. Authorities had prepared by issuing top-level typhoon warnings, closing schools and government offices, and ordering evacuations along vulnerable coastlines.
海水倒灌啊，站在上面，人行道都这么高。 两个车，哎呦，保佑，赶紧停啊！不能再逛，再逛就要淹到上来了。
More than 25,000 residents from villages and fishing communities around the Pearl River Delta were relocated to safety. Temporary shelters were opened to house evacuees. At sea, maritime authorities ordered thousands of fishing boats and cargo vessels to dock ahead of the storm's arrival. Yet despite these precautions, Ragasa overwhelmed many defenses. In Shenzhen, factory roofs collapsed and warehouses were destroyed. In Zhuhai, local businesses were left in ruins, with storefronts smashed and inventories ruined by floodwaters. Economists warned that the financial toll would be immense, with early estimates pointing to billions of yuan in damages across manufacturing, logistics, and trade. As Ragasa moved inland, it slowly weakened, but the danger was not over. Meteorologists warned that heavy rains had saturated the soil, raising the risk of landslides and flash floods in mountainous areas. Railways and highways linking Guangdong to neighboring provinces were suspended, with engineers dispatched to inspect bridges and tracks before travel could safely resume.
哇，好恐怖那風喎！要看有咯。我靠！哇！哇塞！
China's Ministry of Emergency Management mobilized additional rescue forces, sending specialized disaster relief units and medical teams to Guangdong. Power companies launched large-scale operations to restore electricity, while local governments deployed thousands of workers to clear roads and repair damaged infrastructure. The storm's landfall also disrupted international trade. The Pearl River Delta, home to two of China's busiest ports in Shenzhen and Guangzhou, was forced to halt shipping activities. Exports and imports were delayed in one of the world's most critical logistics corridors, adding pressure to already strained global supply chains. Ragasa's destruction joined a growing list of extreme weather disasters China has endured in 2025, from devastating floods in the north to record-breaking summer heat waves. Experts increasingly point to climate change as a driving factor behind the rising frequency and severity of such storms, underscoring the vulnerability of densely populated coastal regions. For now, Guangdong remains on high alert. Emergency shelters are filled to capacity, streets are deserted, and millions of residents wait anxiously for signs that the danger has passed. Though skies are expected to clear in the coming days, the long process of recovery and rebuilding is only beginning.
哇，好恐怖那風喎！要看有咯。我靠！